Next, I would like to introduce our first keynote this morning, Professor Dr. Yongyuth Yuthavong. He's the former Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand, and he's now an advisor to the Council of King Mongkut University of Technology, Thonburi, or this university.
Professor Dr. Yongyuth will be giving a talk in the topic Sparks from the Spirit, Role of Learning in Constructing and Using Knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Dr. Yongyuth Yuthavong.
Good morning. Good morning, Kun Paron. Good morning, everyone. What an atmosphere. I hope you're enjoying the meeting on Constructionism in Action. First of all, I'd like to say how much pleasure and privilege I have in attending this conference and in giving the keynote address. I must first of all tell you all that I'm not really very much. I don't really know constructionism very much, but I had the good opportunity to meet with Kun Paron many times, and he always, every time I meet him, almost every time, always tells me something about constructionism. And many years ago, I had a good fortune to meet with Seymour Papert himself when I visited MIT. So this is something that remains in my mind, and I was delighted to accept to be the keynote speaker today. I call my lecture Sparks from the Spirit. It's a little bit fancy. Actually, it's going to be the title of my next book, which is more about science. But I think Sparks from the Spirit also is about education. It's not just the spirit of science. I think it's a spirit of education. And the spirit of education should give you sparks, like you saw in these wonderful students who just gave a performance. So they have sparks. So that's why I think role of learning and construction and constructing and using knowledge really is to give sparks to the spirit of education. So unfortunately, the present state of education can be represented by this in a classroom, not in this school, by the way, but in a normal school. Or this, you're always preparing for exams, exam this, exam that, and you're always looking for A, grade A or B, but you always get F. So the flower of the brain, the flower of learning, of knowledge, wilts, should bloom, but it wilts. I think this is what we all know. Various aims of education. Of course, we all know we'd like to have knowledge, experience, skills, and I think very importantly, sound attitudes. I think we may forget all the knowledge, all the things that we learn, but we do not forget attitudes. The attitudes remain with us all of our lives. So they contribute to our good character. If we have good attitudes, we have good character. So desired attitudes and character can be measured from something like what we call sound attitudes. I don't know how to define sound attitudes, but there's something that would be good for both for yourselves, for ourselves, for the society, and for the environment. Such as having an open mind, tolerance of dissent. I think nowadays we are too intolerant. So maybe education is failing us in terms of trying to make us tolerant people. Willingness to be engaged in inquiry and investigation. Some inquiry and investigation really takes a lot of effort, but we are willing to pay that effort. And passion, that's very important. If you don't have anything, you have passion, then you can then go on to do many, many more things. Passion and willingness to devote efforts so as to obtain relevant answers. I'd like to just tell you a little bit about what I think about knowledge and its sources. Knowledge to me is not so much as the kind of the things that you find in the textbooks, because you can, of course that's knowledge also, but you can always go and look up those textbooks. But it's really awareness and understanding and familiarity. You don't really know, you don't need to know all the facts in your head, but you know where to find the facts, and you are aware of these facts and information. And of course, you need also physical skills, you know, manual skills. I think in education, we sometimes concentrate too much on the brain, but too little on the skills, which is really something that is what we call the psychomotor skills, that are kind of linked between the cognitive domain and our ability to work physically. So we obtain all these from many sources and through many channels. Of course, the formal channels are schools, teachers, books, etc. But the informal sources are very important, and I think they are more important than formal sources. Parents, people we know, internet, social network, the mass media, and entertainment. We learn a lot from entertainment. You know, learning can be fun, especially if we know good entertainment. And important thing in education is ability to turn information into knowledge. I think this is something that not everyone can do. So we should aim, you know, as educationists or anyone who's dealing with education should aim in to change information to knowledge, to convert information to knowledge. And the true mark of successful education would be ability to find, not only find the information, but sift through, because there's so much information all around, and they're conflicting information as well. So we have to find and sift through the information, analyze and compare their contents, and compare it with our own prior knowledge. At least we have to believe in what we're going to take up, and consult with our teachers and other people. And then, this is very important, and this is what I learned a lot from Constructionism. Then we have to be able to synthesize our own knowledge. It's no longer knowledge that's out there, but now it's knowledge that's in here. So we've got to be able to synthesize and come up with our own knowledge. In a way, it's new knowledge, because it's our own new acquisition. So education can bring us to another level of intellectual capability, which we might call wisdom. You know, I hesitate to use that word because people sometimes use this word kind of rather too quickly. But in fact, I think the real goal of education is not just to convert information to knowledge, but really also to convert knowledge to wisdom. What is wisdom? Well, I think this is my own kind of way of saying it. It's quality of having a large body of knowledge, experience, and critical awareness. So we must have that first. And then it leads to good judgment, prudence, and circumspection. So I think it's best to quote from T.S. Eliot in his poems called Choruses from the Rock. It's not a very large book, and he has some lines that really touched me very much for so many years. Where is the life we have lost in living? Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? So these three lines are very touching to me, and I always quote them when I have to talk about education, information, knowledge, and wisdom. So consequences of good education. Are these the consequences? The degree, the money, happy family, happy jobs? Yes, in a way, but success in jobs are important. Fulfillment of our duties and responsibilities, very important. Happiness in our families, of course, most important. Healthy relationship with others and the world around us in general. So these are the consequences. So I think you all will agree with me that we should try our best to have good education. If it's too late for us, at least for our kids. So I turn now from education to learning, which is different, a little bit different from education. Learning, well, actually, it's a process of obtaining education. And traditional learning, we all familiar with that. We receive from our teachers and other sources, content-based, or various contents. But I think nowadays we are more and more into what's called active learning. And active learning is really acquiring from our own effort. Of course, with teachers' help, sometimes you don't even need the teachers when you are kind of grown up and you don't know where to turn anymore, but you can still learn by yourself. So it's based on understanding rather than based on content. And here I, hesitated a little bit, but I need to talk about learning theories. I need to be brave and then come to talk to you about what I know about learning theories. Well, actually, I read it from Wikipedia. So then I looked up Wikipedia and they said, many learning theories. One is cognitive theory, with human memory as the main source of behavioral change. I think I used to learn about this when I was very young, something about birds, learning something. So cognitive theory, behavioral change. Then there was constructivism and constructionism, which I had to take time to find out the difference. But right now, put the two together first. Constructivism and constructionism believe that a learner's ability to learn relies to a large extent on what she already knows and understands, and the acquisition of knowledge should be an individually tailored process of construction. And transformative learning, there's another word called transformative learning. Many people now emphasizing transformative learning. It focuses on the often necessary change that's required in the learner's preconceptions and worldview. This is, as I said, from Wikipedia. But even before I looked up Wikipedia, I tried to distinguish between constructivism and constructionism by reading at various places. And constructivism, I don't need to, in Thai it says, try to sell coconut to the coconut farmers. You are all coconut farmers here. But anyway, since I prepared it, Piaget said that the process whereby students constructed their own knowledge, unique systems of knowing, And then in Constructionism, I think it's led by that is led by Seymour Papert, who was a student of Piaget. It expanded on this so that it really helping the students produce constructions that others can see and critique. So it changes from abstract into concrete results of learning. So constructivism is more cognitive. It's more what happens to your brain. You construct knowledge in your brain. And constructionism is more physical. You learn when you do something and you show something to the world. So this is again from the internet. And I like this picture. I think I understand this picture, difference between constructivism and constructionism. But anyway, you can debate about this. Many years ago, about 5 years ago, I wrote a book called What is Science For? วิทยาศาสตร์เพื่ออะไร And I had to try to see the difference between constructionism and other types of learning theories. And this is what I wrote. Not only is it in Thai, but it's so small that you can't see. But anyway, the important part of what I wrote is this, and I translate it for you. I said, in education philosophy, constructionism can be considered as the heart of learning. The principle has been used by education leaders, Jean Piaget, Seymour Papert, and the Thai education leaders, notably Paron Israsena and Ayutthaya, have effectively introduced blah, blah, blah. So to me, there are 3 P's for constructionism. One is Piaget, second P is Papert. Guess who the third P is? Kun Paron. That's in my, what I have in my mind, and that's what I wrote in that book. So let's now look at the spirit of learning. To me, spirit of learning really is entrenched, really stems from, the first thing is really curiosity and wonder, the sense of curiosity and wonder, exploration, desire to know details, desire to understand. So I looked around in the literature, and then I see that Rudyard Kipling, maybe a century ago, more than a century ago, talked about 6 honest serving men. And what Rudyard Kipling said in The Elephant's Child is, I have 6 honest serving men. They taught me all I knew. I call them why and when and where and how and what and who. So these are the honest serving men. If he were alive today, I'm not sure whether he would need to say 6 honest serving women, because, or maybe 3 men, 3 women. That would be more equal. So what about sparks from the spirit? First spark is spark of innovation. I think once you have education, a good education, the spirit of education would then drive you to innovation, to do something new, making and discovering new things. But it should not stop there. I think it should go further. The sparks should drive us to what I call development, using innovations and discoveries for human benefits. So that's development, that's beyond innovation. But it should also go beyond development. And this is what I call sustainability. This is the year of last year was the year of sustainability, when the UN decided to have sustainable development goals, all the 17 goals. And I think that sustainability is really the important part of the spark from the spirit. And that is achieving long-lasting benefits and avoidance of adverse effects. So these are the sparks from the spirits, and I'd just like to give some example of the sparks. Well, rail system, we all know about rail system, but innovation, of course, continued up to the present day. But I think up to the present day, we would be more interested in development. What's the development aspect of the rail system? So extended railway system everywhere around the world, convenient and fast transport, and we have to concentrate more on energy and environment costs. These are the development aspects of the rail system. And what about sustainability? We aim to have sustainable rail system when we have intelligent railroad air grid and have acceptable amounts of carbon release, or even neutral carbon or negative carbon balance. So these are examples of the sparks in the rail system. And what about, let's have another example, agriculture. Agriculture has been with us for such a long time, and of course education really contributed a lot to development of agriculture. And we had innovation over the past centuries in plant breeding, and over the past few decades, we used molecular biology for agriculture. But the development aspect is very interesting. About the middle of last century, there was the first green revolution, and this was the agricultural green revolution, not the green revolution that we are talking about today, about the environmental revolution. But the green revolution resulted in high productivity, but there was still a negative aspect, and that is it really used a lot of resources like fertilizers, water, and there are some people who criticize the green revolution, although it had so many benefits, but many people criticize in that it made the poor farmers even poorer. But if you are already sort of middle or rich farmers, then you get richer. So development was not perfect. So sustainability, what we need really is what we might call green revolution. And that is green in the sense of agriculture and also green in the sense of environment. So double green revolution. And so we should aim for both high productivity and environment friendly agriculture. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm about to end my talk. First of all, I'd like to summarize. Oh, you can see it from there. I can't see it from here. Actually, the title, the picture is from Chiang Rai, from my own little house in Chiang Rai. So I think it's really gives the spirit. It nurtures my spirit when I go there. So I put it there. Successful learning. I think the important thing is really to keep the 6 honest men of Rudyard Kipling active. The why, how, when, where, and so on. And we don't have time to talk about it, but I think you all know about the STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as core for the science inclined. And many people are now saying, no, cannot be STEM, has to be STEAM. STEAM, S-T-E-A-M, A is arts. I think I agree, so it should be STEAM education, maybe more, even more than STEAM. So liberal educations like arts, culture, society, environment, these are important backgrounds. So successful learning in enhancing the sparks. So we should cultivate innovative skills, creative, technical, could be managerial, doesn't need to be, we all don't need to be engineers. We can all, some of us can be managers, financial people, into risk assessment, and so on. But the sparks should be to encourage imagination, vision, and creativity. Encourage stamina and persistence. When there is failure or when things are very difficult, we say, okay, good, that really tests my stamina. And we should cultivate ability to see a broad and long-term picture towards sustainable development of the innovation itself. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Yongyuth, for your talk. And for this, I would like to invite Khun Paron Israsina to present token of our appreciation. Khop Phak Kun Ka. Picture. Okay, thank you very much.